Good morning, everybody. As we started off endocrine system, we have the main master gland called as pituitary gland. We saw the classification of the endocrine hormones, how they're classified into steroid, peptides, and polypeptides, with the examples and mechanism of action, wherein you came to know how steroids bind to cytoplasmic receptor and hormone receptor complex results in a cascade of reactions resulting in transcription, translation, or it can be a genomic or a non-genomic action, or it can be proteins binding to nuclear receptors. For example, thyroid hormone binds to nuclear receptors, and some of the hormones bind to the membrane receptors, which can be G protein linked. And we saw how the hormones were acting, mechanism of action. And finally, we came to know how is it measured by radioimmunoassay. So most of these hormones, when they bind to the receptor, they produce a desired response. So for example, if thyroid hormone binds to a receptor, it forms a hormone receptor complex. This complex alters the structure and function of the receptor. The altered receptor produces the desired response by change in membrane permeability of the cell, activation of intracellular enzyme, and activation of genes. And most of these hormones are regulated by negative feedback mechanism, except for oxytocin, which has a positive feedback mechanism. With this introduction and classification in chemistry with mechanism, we go on to know what is the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland has two lobes. These are anterior and posterior. The dried, partially defatted and powdered anterior lobe gland is of cattle, sheep and swine, now rarely used therapeutically. This pituitary gland, which is also called as hypophysis cerebri, is a small gland measuring 1 centimeter in diameter and weighing about 0.5 to 1 gram. It is present at the base of the brain and lies on the sella turcica of sphenoid bone. It is connected to hypothalamus by its stalk. And we need to know that most of this pituitary hormones is understand how the hormonal mechanism is dependent on the clinical relevance. For example, we have pituitary dwarfism, where there is decreased production of growth hormone during childhood and adolescence, depending on before the closure of epiphyseal, and there will be a proportionate dwarfism, or it can be a disproportionate dwarfism. A gigantism, when there is excess secretion of growth hormone before the closure of epiphyseal plates, larger than the normal ratio. Or hypersecretion of pituitary gland in adulthood after growth plate closure. Or if it's a thyroid disorder, we can have Hashimoto's disease and hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, the cause is Hashimoto's, where there can be fatigue, constipation, dry skin, cretinism. Mentally retarded dwarf due to hypothyroidism is called as cretinism. Graves' disease is an autoimmune disease due to Graves' disease, which is causing hyperthyroidism, results in protrusion of highball called as exophthalmos, and due to its permissive action on the heart rate, there is tachycardia, diarrhea, emotional irritability. So the endocrine system has also adrenal cortex and medulla with cortisol production and adrenaline, the catecholamines. The stress hormone, which is your cortisol. So any disorders in the adrenal gland, whether there is excess serum cortisol, can result in Cushing syndrome, or if there is an adrenaline producing tumor resulting in pheochromocytoma. So we have endocrine and exocrine pancreas. The endocrine mainly is insulin production. If it's deficient, it results in diabetes mellitus. So, with this introduction and its clinical relevance, we go on to talk about pituitary gland, which is also called as hypophysis cerebri. It's a small gland about the size of a large pea nut located under the brain, often referred to as the master gland. It secretes hormones that regulate other endocrine glands. It consists of two major lobes, the anterior and the posterior, separated by the intermediate lobe called as pars intermedia. The pituitary, the large anterior lobe referred to as adenohypophysis. This is highly glandular tissue that produces and secretes numerous hormones. The second smaller posterior lobe is referred to as neurohypophysis. Here the hormones are synthesized in the hypothalamus and they are only stored in the posterior pituitary, mainly the oxytocin and ADH, antidiuretic hormone, also called as vasopressin. This is a neural tissue that secretes two hormones produced by the hypothalamus. Embryologically, the anterior gland lobe pituitary originates from Rathke's pouch, which is an invagination of pharyngeal epithelium. The cells of the anterior pituitary are therefore glandular in nature. The posterior pituitary arises as an outgrowth of hypothalamus. It contains nerve cells. So, adenohypophysis, which is a large anterior gland subdivided into glandular pars distalis, which is most of the lobe and is active in secretion, also contains pars tubularis that forms the covering stalk. The pars intermedia separates the anterior and posterior lobe. This pars intermedia is a small zone in between anterior and posterior lobe. It secretes melanocyte stimulating hormone, which is melanin, which controls the color. So, adenohypophysis, there are different types of cell types in the adenohypophysis. They are identified based on staining characteristics. These are chromophilic cells include the acidophils, which stain with eosin stain and are thus reddish, and the basophils, which stain with hematoxyl and are thus dark blue or purple colored in hematoxyl and eosin staining. The chromophobes do not stain. So, we have acidophil and basophil type of cells based on the staining characteristics. These are different types of acidophils that can be separated with very special stain. They cannot be separated with HND. They include somatotraps, which secrete growth hormone. Growth hormone causes growth of the whole body by increasing protein synthesis and enhanced cell growth. So, once again, it causes growth. The mammotraps, they secrete prolactin. Prolactin causes development of mammary gland and helps in milk production. There are different types of basophils. Those two were acidophils, that is growth hormone and prolactin secreting cells. The basophils can be separated with very special stains. These cannot be separated with hematoxin and eosin stains. They include thyrotropes, which secrete thyroid stimulating hormone, which controls the rate of secretion of T3 and T4 hormones, which are secreted by the thyroid gland. The gonadotropes secrete luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. They control the growth of the ovaries and testes, thereby help in controlling the reproductive activity. The chromophores, which secrete ACTH or adrenocorticotropic hormone, regulate adrenal cortex. So, we need to understand that the pituitary has adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. Adenohypophysis has acidophils and basophils. The acidophils secrete growth hormone and prolactin, whereas the basophils secrete thyrotropes, gonadotropes, and ACTH. The anterior pituitary cells and hormones Unlike some other endocrine cells, those of the anterior pituitary separate their supplying a hormone from the detection of the need for the hormone. The sensitivity to need is performed by hypothalamic hormones, which can coordinate the requirements for several hormones with drives and events outside the permanence. The system also allows the control of inhibitory factors as well as the driving hormones and releasing factors. The hypothalamus sends chemical stimulus to the anterior pituitary to release hormones. They stimulate and synthesize the release of hormones. So the main thing is hypothalamus controls the anterior pituitary. So for example, the thyrotropin releasing hormone release the TSH which is present in the anterior pituitary. The thyroid stimulating hormone which is secreted from the anterior pituitary acts on the thyroid gland, controlling the rate of secretion of T3 and T4, the hormone secreted by thyroid gland. Whereas the corticotropin releasing hormone causes the release of ACTH which is secreted by chromophores and they regulate the cortisol secretion. Whereas the GnRHs which is pulsatile causes the release of follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone which controls the reproductive activity by acting on the ovaries and resulting in luteinization. Whereas the growth hormone releasing hormone causes release of growth hormone. So attached to the hypothalamus by an infundibulum is the pituitary gland. Two basic divisions are the adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis, which we discussed. Release 9 important peptide hormones. All 9 bind to membrane receptors and use cyclic AMP as second messenger. So the mechanism of action is, we need to understand that these are mainly mediated by cyclic AMP and they bind to membrane, the cell membrane receptors. So we have the largest division of the anterior pituitary called as the adenohypophysis, which contain 5 different types of endocrine cells. Once again, they are the somatotrophic cells which secrete growth hormone, causing growth of the whole body by increasing the protein synthesis and enhance cell growth. The prolactin, which causes development of mammary gland and helps in milk production. The thyrotropic cells secrete thyroid stimulating hormone, which in turn acts on the thyroid gland to secrete T3 and T4. T3 is triiodothyronine, which is biologically active, whereas T4 is not biologically active because it is bound to the proteins. The corticotropic cells secrete ACTH, adenocorticotropic hormone, and melanocyte stimulating hormone. The gonadotropic cells secrete follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, which control the growth of the ovaries and testes, thereby help in controlling reproductive activity. The tropic hormones TSH, FSH and LH regulate the secretion of hormones by other endocrine glands. The hormones of the adenohypophysis, that is the thyrotropin releasing hormone, promotes the release of TSH. The TSH triggers the release of thyroid hormone, and the corticotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus causes the secretion of ACTH from anterior pituitary. So hypothalamus controls the anterior pituitary, and ACTH stimulates the release of glucocorticoids by the adrenal gland, which are the steroids. The follicle stimulating hormone stimulates follicle development and estrogen secretion in females and sperm production in males. The luteinizing hormone causes ovulation and progesterone production in females and androgen production in males. Gonadotropin releasing hormone from hypothalamus promotes the secretion of FSH and LH in the anterior pituitary. The prolactin stimulates the development of mammary gland and milk production, that is lactopoiesis and lactogenesis. The growth hormone stimulates cell growth and replication by increasing the protein synthesis and enhance cell growth. Whereas melanocyte stimulating hormone stimulates melanocytes to produce melanin. So we've been discussing about the last two classes in a slow way to understand that the chemistry, the mechanism of action, and how an hormone is measured with hypothalamic hormones which control the anterior pituitary, mainly the adenohypophysis. And we need to understand that the growth hormone is part of this secreted by the anterior pituitary, and this will be described later in detail of the class. So for any hormone we need to know what is the chemistry, what is the serum levels, what is the mechanism of actions and applied aspect. For example, if you take growth hormone, initially we saw if there is decreased secretion, it results in dwarfism. If it is excess secretion, it results in gigantism. Or if it is a thyroid disorder, it can result in hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. In cortisol, if it is excess production, it causes Cushing's syndrome or Addison's disease. So we need to know that these two hormones are very essential for activity. So in the next class, we will talk about the growth hormone in detail, how its metabolic effects and how is it regulated through its somatomedin actions, which is an insulin-like growth factor. So we have revised about the hypothalamic hormones and adenohypophysis. When we talk about neurohypophysis, we will go in detail about how the hormones were synthesized in paraventricular and supraoptic nuclei. Both oxytocin and ADH were synthesized and stored in the posterior pituitary, which is also called as neurohypophysis, and the flow was through the axoplasmic flow. For any doubts, you can